What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the guitar tutorial for Majestic by Lincoln Brewster, the live version. So let's jump right into it. Alright, I'm actually playing through my Lincoln Brewster inspired preset for the Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, HX Effects, and the Pod Go. So if you like this preset, feel free to click the link in the description. So the reason why I'm going back to 2005 Lincoln Brewster albums, number one, it's a live album, and this album has really impacted me as a guitar player as far as, playing in the church, number one, being a Christian guitar player, but like being able to ad-lib and really play when necessary and when to pull back when necessary. And there are a ton of licks in here that I've added to my own personal knowledge tool belt. And so that's why I really want to go back through these songs so that it's easier for you to learn these licks so that you can really focus on the technique and maybe even apply this to your own guitar playing. So this song is in the key of D, and I'm just going to kind of go over the main themes of this song. There's a certain lick that kind of comes up throughout the song, and that lick sounds like this. Okay, so that lick right there, like I said, it's an inversion. It's a first inversion if you know anything about music theory. So that's a first inversion D chord. So that's my middle finger on the 4th fret D string and my first finger on the 3rd fret B string. So what I'm doing is I'm adding that G string in between, open. So then you actually slide with your middle finger from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret. Slide back down. And then that open D string, but that's when you transition back to your D chord. So I'm going to play that intro for you. So there's a lot of cool things happening in there. Some of it I didn't play just to give you an idea of the context on when that part comes in. So a lot of stuff happens in the song. There's a lot of like rake picking. That's what I kind of call it. They're just like slides. And it really just kind of, adds a little bit more punch and, builds up a little bit more anticipation in the song. So, for example, like at the beginning of the song, it does a and it's like a kind of a percussive loop that goes throughout the whole song. And then the drums come in and and you're like right into it. So I'm going to show you the chord shapes that we play throughout the song because this song is very rhythmic and there's like a lot of cool power chords and it's really important to get those clean. So the first chord I showed you is that D chord. And I'm putting my ring finger on the 3rd fret B string, first finger on the 2nd fret G string. So then your second chord is actually your A chord, and there's two ways you can play it. How I just do a standard A chord is I like to bar it. So it's my first finger barring the D string, G string, and B string. And then I'm getting that A string in there as well. Or what you can play, especially in this key, you can play an A sus. And honestly, that might be more appropriate for this key and this song. So what you're doing is you're just playing your D chord. You're leaving your ring finger there on that 3rd fret. And then you're still barring your first finger. So you're just adding that D note on the 3rd fret to that chord. That would be an A sus. So it sounds like this. And then I'm using my thumb to almost mute that low E string so I can still dig into the chord and make it nice and clean. And then it's a G chord after that. And how I play that is I actually use my middle finger, 3rd fret, and then I use my middle finger almost to kind of mute that A string. So it's almost kind of like resting on there. And then I keep my ring finger there where it was the whole time with the D chord, 3rd fret, B string, and then I add my pinky to the 3rd fret high E string. So one of the concepts I talk about in my course that I'll link down below, it's all about chords, and I talk about anchor points. And so basically what I mean with an anchor point is in every single key, there's one or two fingers that act as an anchor point. And that basically is your reference to how you make chord changes. So for example, in this key, when I play that D chord, my ring finger is acting as an anchor point. So when I play my D chord, it's there. When I transition to my A chord, it stays there. So I'm using my ring finger as almost an anchor to give me reference for the next chord. And then I go to my G chord. Notice how my ring finger did not change. That's how you can make really efficient, really fast chord changes as well when you need to. Okay? So I'm just going to play the intro a little bit. So then it goes back to that D chord, and then you can also hear in the track too, they do like a bounce on that G note. So actually what helps is your ring finger is already there. So then you can kind of just bounce on that G note, and then you're already there for your D chord. So Lincoln Brewster's part in the intro actually deviates from the chords. So he kind of starts playing that big fat D chord, and then he branches out going to. So that on the first finger, it's actually on the first finger, 7th fret D string, and then I'm only letting my D string ring out to kind of enforce that. You know, both pitches, they're octaves there. Then there's a little bit of tension there on the, so you go a half step down, first finger, 6th fret, G string. Then you're down to the 2nd fret, G string. And then sometimes you hear him let off to that open G string. Then you're back to that lick. So I'm going to play that whole intro. So then the verse is just a down part of the intro. So it's the same chord progression, but it's just down a little bit. And a way that he controls that is he uses his volume knob to pull back. So he's just using that same chord progression. And then we're going to kind of revamp back into it. So I'm going to play that chord progression for you. So that's what the entire chord progression for the chorus looks like. He's really focusing on the low, maintaining the rhythm. So the chorus goes to the 4, which is your G chord, to the 1, 4, G chord. And then it goes to the 6, which is your B minor 7. And that's actually intricate because you're picking that part. So, like I said, the anchor point is here. My first finger is on the 2nd fret A string, and my middle finger now goes on the 2nd fret G string. So the picking part starts with my A string, then it skips a string to the G note, or your G string, and then it's an upstroke on your high E string, and then an upstroke again on your B string. So I'm going to put it back in context again. Then it's another upstroke on your G string. Then you're back to your G chord. And then now what you're going to do is another inversion of your D chord. This is a D over F sharp. So what I'm doing is it's the same chord shape as your B minor, but you're just putting your first finger on the 2nd fret low E string, and you're not necessarily letting your A string ring out. You're using your first finger to mute that. So you can let your high E string ring out, or you can use your hand to kind of mute it, depending on how you're feeling. So start over. So yeah. And then there's a little walk up here. You go to your E minor. This is an E minor chord and E minor 7. So the reason why I play my E minors this way is because I can still keep my anchor point there. So I'm going to go back to your D sharp, or your D over F sharp. And then going down to the E minor. So that's your first finger on the 2nd fret A string, and your middle finger on your 2nd fret D string. And then it's your same top 2 fingers on your B and E string, like you played here. So then it's a walk up that looks like this. That goes to your A, or your A chord. So it's E minor, D over F sharp. And then I actually keep my middle finger there. Or sorry, I actually keep my pinky there on the 3rd fret high E string. To your G chord, and then to your A sus chord. And then you're back into your intro. So I'm going to play that in context. So then after that, you play the intro again, and then you're back in the verse. And it's the same, it's just a lighter version of your intro chords. So you're just playing a little bit lighter to dynamically drop so that there's more lift when you get back into the second chorus. So then your second chorus theme is the exact same. It's the same chords, same everything. And then after your second chorus, you drop down on the 1 chord, which is your D chord. You drop down, let your chord ring out. So then after you play that, then you're just back to your 1 and your 4, your D chord and your G chord. I'm just kind of playing upstrokes just to give you timing. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what Lincoln Brewster does, he goes. What that's doing is actually he's making it a G2 chord. Basically, to put it simply, a 2 chord is adding the second note of the scale of your chord. So like, for example, if you did, that's your, like a normal major scale. That second note in that chain there, that second note is your A note. You're actually adding that value to the chord. So to put it in perspective, that's your G note, adding another note to that. Now it's a G2 chord. So then he kind of bounces back and forth between that. So he goes, and then he adds a lick that kind of sounds like this. So basically, it's just an ad-lib there. And that's in that pentatonic scale, starting on that 7th fret. So a lot of it's just hammer-ons, pull-offs. So you're barring that 7th fret. And what you could do is you could lead into it. So you can start on the 5th fret, A string, hammer on. Hammer on to the 7th fret, A string, slide up to the 9th fret, bar the 7th fret, dig into it. So you're going to add your middle finger to the 8th fret. Pull off. Add your ring finger to the 9th fret, G string. Pull off still to your barred finger on the 7th. Then I think he hammers on to that on the D string from the 7th to the 9th. So it's kind of that same thing. D string to the 7th, and then another hammer on. So, and then after that, he goes to, when the band starts kicking in the second half, it sounds like this. So it's a lot of it's just very, very quick picking on your D chord. And what he's doing is you're adding your middle finger to the fret below your ring finger on the 2nd fret. So he plays that whole lick during the second half of that bridge. And then he catches up with the rest of the band on that final A chord, building into the chorus again. So then you're back into the chorus, same chords, same progression, same dynamics. But at the end of the chorus, he does the tag a couple times. And so it's the same walk up. So then at the end of the song, it's a big D chord. So you hear that again. And then you're into the next song, which is Every Day. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit the thumbs up button located down below. And if you have a Line 6 Helix, HX Stomp, HX Effects, or Pod Go, feel free to click the link down below in the description to pick up the patch. Also, if you're wanting to go deeper in the knowledge of electric guitar, guitar technique, guitar music theory, I have slots available for private one-on-one lessons via Zoom. Click the link down below to book. Sweet, we'll see you guys in the next video.